Hey guys, and welcome to the live stream. It's Friday, thank God, finally. It seemed like the longest week to me. And if I look tired, it's because I am. I had a heck of a week going. It's just been really, really busy at work and doing everything else. And so I appreciate you joining me today. Oh, this is supposed to go live directly at 4, so maybe it's not going to until 4. Right. Yeah, Dexter. Um, Yeah, I think it's going to go live directly at 4 because I think I set it to go live. There we go. We should be live any second now. Welcome to the live stream. I think that it auto went live because I set that up. Everybody, technical every week. There's something else technical that I just do wrong. And they didn't have any classes when I was at Bid Summit about how to do live streams without looking like an idiot. So they really did need to have those. And nice to see you here, Dexter and Silver Ollie. I look forward to this all week. My week has been really crazy busy. And so just to be able to see you guys and have this going is awesome. So I'm hoping that it is running because I can't always tell. I've got like my phone set and it says still one waiting. So I don't know. Why is it not going? Is it going? Tell me if it's going. Because I'm not seeing it on my phone. I did remember this time to at least check it. My volume is low because guess what? I forgot to bring my microphone over next to my desk. Swear to God, people, I really, really need like a keeper for like all my stuff. To just yell at me and say, "Hey, did you remember?" And even though I have my checklist, I don't always look at my checklist because I think I know it all, and I clearly don't. All right, awesome to see you, Hefamo and Cheryl. So good to see you guys here. Hopefully everything's working right now. I did take off my microphone on the Sprint thing, so I remembered that. I had a great time at Vid Summit. You might be able to see there's a little YouTube thing that I got there behind me, and I got that hat that I showed you guys in the short. And my light is acting weird today. I don't know. It's like super bright and then it's turning down. There's a video that's going to be coming out, I think next Monday, and my light back there, that lamp that I have, there was people working on our power, and my light just kind of goes berserk in the middle of the whole video, and I just left it in there, and I said something about poltergeist because it was so like, what the heck, what is going on there? Nice to see you here, JC. Good to see you joining us. I look forward to this more than anything all week because it is best for me to end my week on a really great writing note. And I appreciate you guys coming and writing with me. How it works, if it's your first time here, is we talk about writing in between the sprints. We do short little 15-minute sprints because that's why they're sprints. And I usually put up a writing prompt, and I did prepare one this week. I know, I'm giving myself a pat on the back, even though I had everything else wrong. It's never predictable, Dexter said, and that is so true. It never is because I'm always having some kind of a technical difficulty or something going wrong. Who knows what it is? There's always something with me because it's not my area of expertise, and I try really hard though. I really do. I just lost my chat doc, so I got to bring that back up somehow. There it is. Okay. And then my external monitor, ever since I hooked it up to my second computer, my other work computer, it refuses to work with this computer. So I can't look over there easily. I have to figure that out. I file that under 20 million things I need to figure out. Part of the live fun, FMO said, is that you never know where the plot is going. That is very true. You don't. Because it could be anything, right? But I'm really glad that you guys are here. And I loved having some kind of a prompt and something to write with. And because I had a video on dialogue, today's prompt is about dialogue because I really want you guys to kind of amp it up a little bit. The other purpose of these writing sprints is for you guys to ask me questions in between so you have an opportunity to pick my brain live. And we go about an hour total ish, with usually 3 sprints if I don't talk too much. and, and we just write like crazy in between. I'll play music. You guys can turn it off, whatever you want to do. And Dexter, there always has to be a plot, right? Cheryl will tell you that I say that there always has to be a reason for that. It has to feed into the plot. Um, and yeah, of course, my calls are coming in while I'm doing this. And yeah, I'll call you later. The new auto thing with iPhone lets you leave a voicemail for people right away. Okay, so they're calling back again. I am going to cut to a sprint real quick and I will come right back to you guys. Hey, I'm on my live sprint. Okay. Okay, that was great, you guys. I managed to start working on a chapter that I added to my book the other day when I was on the plane. I think I have. No, I don't have it here. It's the notebook somewhere else. But when I was on the plane to Dallas for Vid Summit, I wrote like, I don't know, 6 pages by hand because my computer battery had died, and I took Frontier out and their bare bones airline, and so they didn't have a plug at the seat. And so I hand wrote a ton of stuff and then had to decipher it to put it into my computer. Now I'm kind of cleaning it up. Like I just typed it really fast a few days ago, and now I'm just trying to clean it up and make it make sense. So Half a Mo had a great question. How do you hint at a secret without it being all clunky? Now, I'm not sure if you guys saw, it might be in the first chapter video that I have out right now. I talked about An Honest Man, which is a really great book by Michael Carita. I love him. He's just amazing. He's such a great author. Um, and in that, there's a lot of things that are hidden and secret that they hint around, they talk around, they don't really get there. And it's more in the kind of things that your character doesn't say and how their actions kind of negate what they're not saying or how they're not answering. Like, I think it's Israel, I think is the character's name. He he went to prison for murdering his father, and we don't know why, and we don't know what part his uncle Sterling had in it. And they kind of talk around those issues, partly because in dialogue, which I also covered this in the dialogue video, in dialogue, we don't really like talk directly at issues because we're with people that already know us, right? Like in real life, I already know you guys, the ones that that come regularly every week. So I'm not going to ask a ton of like beginning questions because I already know you, and that history is implied already between us because you guys know me, I know you. Not like we're besties like in real life, but you know enough about the person that you're not going to bring up all those details. So you're going to leave some of that unsaid. And you're also going to have some things that they do instead that kind of negate that. So if they're hiding something, maybe they physically do something that is hiding. So they close a cabinet door, or they walk out of the room, or they tuck something away so that then you can show that they're hiding without really telling it. And it doesn't have to be all clunky. Even if they just change the subject and the other character notes that they changed the subject, there's a lot of ways that we hide what's going on in our dialogue, and that's one of the ways you can do it. Um, and Cheryl's protagonist has a secret she's hiding from the sheriff and hints at it in the first chapter. Yes. And I think too, your character that is hiding a secret and has a really good motivation for it, like Cheryl's character does, um, then they're going to be always worried about like whether they're tripping themselves up, whether they said too much, whether they said too little. Is that character staring at me a little too hard? um is this how I should be behaving, or would this be some kind of a tell that would reveal the truth about me? And yes, half a million, you don't have to have a ton of internal dialogue. It's how we act. Think about the people in your circle or the people that you have seen on TV and movies who are hiding something. Seriously, watching TV or in movies is a really good way to learn how to show, not tell, because there is no, very rarely is there a narrator for anything that you watch on TV or movies. Once in a while, they have that, outside voice saying stuff. But by and large, the viewer has to put it together by watching the actions and hearing the voices of the actors. And that's what made soap operas so campy because they would tell you everything that they were thinking. But a really well done, really good mystery that you watch or see has so much that's left unsaid that you can really kind of pull from that. How can I do that in a book? How can I have my character take these same actions or avoid the conversation in a similar way? And you can use those things. Um, and yes, you're welcome. I don't have An Honest Man up here because I'm talking about different books this week, but it was real. I just love Michael Carita. I just read oh my gosh, Craig Davidson's Cataract City, which I liked, but not as much as his Nick Cutter book. So he writes horror under Nick Cutter. And then I also read a really good horror novel, if you guys like horror, called Beneath the Stairs by, oh, I don't think it's in here. I don't think I have it in my office. I think it's still over in my other room because I didn't bring it in here to talk about yet on the channel. But Beneath the Stairs was nice and scary. It's about like this house that has something living under the stairs. And it was one of those books that I'd have to read something else before I went to bed. There's a lot of
books that do it so, so, so well. And I love that when you have a character that's avoiding talking about things. 156 words. Great job, Silver Ollie, working on the dialogue between a grandfather and a child. And yes, Dexter, Shutter Island was brilliantly done in terms of um how they talked around things, and it wasn't until you got to the end that you were like, "Oh, now I get it." And you can go back and you can put all the pieces together. There was a Jodi Picoult book that I read that was very similar to that, in The Perfect Marriage, which I've talked about on the channel before. A lot of those pieces fell into place once it came back to me. Um, and then the Ashley Elston book, which is First Lie Wins, another one where I said, oh, now I get how all these pieces work. So a lot of those things are really done well to hide what the characters don't want other characters to know yet. Yeah, you guys are doing great. What was I gonna say? Forgot. I totally forgot. I had something in my mind and I totally forgot it. I did have some good news while I was in Bid Summit, which I will share when we come back from the next sprint, because that way I give you guys a reason to come back, right? And I also want to know what you want to see for videos, because I'm coming up with a bunch of different ideas. I've got to record a bunch in advance because I am going to Dubai next month to speak at the International Thriller Writers Conference. So I've got to hurry up and record some in advance so I have stuff to run while I'm gone. So if you guys have ideas or things you want me to cover, there should be music on the sprint part. There wasn't music. I didn't. Oh yeah, I don't have my sound on my computer. I usually am one of those people that works like in silence. So I don't know. It should have worked because it worked last week. I swear. I need like a technical run all the time for this stuff. So all right, let's go do another 15 minutes and I will see you guys back here. Oh. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know if that helped it or not. I put my microphone back on, so above my pay grade, guys. I know I say it every week, but it is so difficult. Mm. Yeah, you're right about the timer. I think I have to hit something each time. And I have to control one note to myself that I'm supposed to hit that when I do the timer so that it resets it. I'm not sure why the music isn't playing because it shows it playing on my side. It shows the audio bouncing up and down. So I'm not, I just, OBS released update just before I went live today. So I'm going to blame it on OBS and not me. I will probably check for another update after this live stream and see if I can get it fixed. I don't know. Sorry about that. I will do the little control one when I do the timer again. So at least you guys will have that. Can't figure out the other thing. I could probably take it off and try to put the music back on again, but the last time I did that, it didn't really work that well. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I turned the microphone back on in the sprint, but I don't know. Okay. Sorry, guys. Anyways, news. Like, I totally forgot what I was going to tell you. So when I was in did summit in Dallas, which was actually a really great conference. If you guys are YouTubers at all, it's a really good conference to go to. Got a call from my agent that I sold another book to HarperCollins. So that is book number 88. It's going to be a suspense novel. I don't know when it's coming out. I'm not even delivering it for a few months, but I sold another suspense novel. So after a little while, of not selling because the market's been kind of flat, when the economy is kind of bouncy and crazy, publishers are reluctant to take on a lot of new projects, and so they'll cut back before they'll advance. And I think COVID had really thrown the publishing industry for a loop because all of a sudden they had all these people working from home and they're paying these massive Manhattan rents, and I think that definitely impacted them. Plus, a lot more people started writing books and self-publishing them during COVID. So the publishing industry had a kind of a bit of a slump, and things have happened much slower than they used to in the old days. So great job, Silver Ollie, on the 144 words. I kept working on the scene that I put into my computer, trying to tune it up, making it just a little bit better. And nice to see you here, NBR and Walter. And 80 words still at the end of the sprint. That's awesome. You guys are doing great. And Heather, I'm happy you're here too. It's awesome. I'm so excited with it being Friday. It's not even funny. I'm very much looking forward to the weekend, even though next week is going to be insane. And then I go to Dubai pretty soon after that. So I will be here next Friday, but I am in Dubai the following Friday. So we will have a live stream next. Oh no, I'll be here the 24th and the 31st, and then I'll be in Dubai the first week of November. I have no idea what time it is there. It'll be a different day because I go over the international date line. So I'm not even going to try to do any kind of a live stream because we can see how well I do when I'm in my own time zone and in my own office. So definitely not going to try that when I'm away. Um, and then I go to Mexico as soon as I get back from Dubai to speak. So we'll have less sprints in November, but everything should get back to normal in December because my husband has surgery, so I'll be home for a while. I'm not going to go anywhere. Um, Publishing houses can be making a lot of money depending on the genre. It depends on what you're writing, and it depends on who they're paying the money to, right? Like James Patterson makes a ton of money for Hachette. Um, and yet they're reluctant to take chances on authors that aren't a James Patterson level. And I'm certainly not a James Patterson level. They're also reluctant to take a chance on debut authors that aren't coming out with something that's really unique or high concept or just really, really good. Like Beneath the Stairs is a debut novel. And sometimes when they say debut novel, it's actually a first book under a pen name by an existing author. So sometimes it's not really a debut, but I didn't check this author out. I didn't do anything more than read the book and thought it was really, really good. It was well written. It had good suspense. It had some good twists in it. I liked it. If you guys liked the Corey Girls, which was just, I think I can't see that one either from here. I think it's Jess Lowry wrote Corey Girls. It's a very similar book to that and to Final Girls, what by Riley Sager. So it's very much in that genre, but with a little bit of a horror thing. And my husband was totally okay getting a knee replacement. He was born bow-legged, and so he's had a whole lot of surgeries on his legs. So this will be pretty complicated. He's already had a partial knee replacement. Now he's having a full. And because of all the hardware he has in his legs from previous surgeries, it's just going to be more complex than a regular knee replacement. But I think he's strong. He plays tennis 3, 4 days a week. I'm sure he will be back up in no time, but I'm not scheduling any travel in December just in case there's any kind of complications or anything. Best writing advice for a first draft, Nate asked. Been doubting myself, but then I think my writing is good. So I just did this with somebody that I'm working with on video editing, not my videos, other videos. And you've got to learn to trust your gut. And I talk about this all the time on the channel. But what I mean is, if you're reading your book back and you find your mind wandering, or you kind of look away, or you skip forward, then you've got too much or not enough action there. You've either got too much backstory or narrative or not enough action there, and you should cut it or rewrite it. If you're reading your own stuff at any point and you're just like blah, 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 thinking about something else, going to scroll TikTok, that means you're bored as a reader. And if you're bored as a reader, it's probably something wrong there. 99.99% of the time, what is wrong with the books that I look at when I do consults is the plot. It's usually the internal plot because a lot of us are really good at writing action, but writing that stuff that's in here, not so easy. Writing about all those things that the insecurities and fears and anxieties that we have and giving those to our character and then dealing with them on the page, not the easiest thing to do. So, what most people miss is that connection of the internal plot. And I have a video. I don't remember what it's called. One of you guys might remember. It's about my care method, and there's a free download on my community page as well for that. My community in Thinkific, not in YouTube. And what that is the character takes an action, there is an emotional reaction, and then there is an impact on them, an emotional impact on them. And that emotional impact drives their next action. And the book that I analyzed in that video is First Lie Wins by Ashley Elsiton, because she literally had that every single paragraph. So you could watch the stakes rise, you could watch the emotion get deeper, and you could watch her have to deal with her stuff more and more with each successive page and scene. And so when you have that, you've got this really nice interlocking puzzle where you're creating this internal journey for the character and you're naturally raising the stakes. Because as we get deeper emotionally, things become more important and achieving the goal becomes more important. So that's my long winded advice, I think. What do I think of audiobooks? Silver Alley, I just discovered them. Well, not discovered them, like they've always existed. I've sold a ton of my books to Audible and my rights for audiobooks to different places, but I've never really listened to them. I listen to podcasts primarily. And I got a free thing to Audible from, I think the Today Show had some special where you got like 3 months free. And so I signed up for it. And I am like hooked. I have so many in my thing to read. And so I'm always listening to one when I'm driving into Tampa or going somewhere else. And then I'm feeling bad about not listening to the podcast that I normally listen to. So I'm trying to mix it up, but I've been loving them. My biggest complaint is that I can't like grab them and then start this marking them up to talk about for you guys on the channel. Like if I have a passage that I come across in an audiobook, I can't reference it again. Like I can't go back to it because it's audio. So I can't bookmark it or, you know, sticky noted or anything like that. So I'm trying not to save like my super favorite authors, trying not to listen to my super favorite authors in audiobooks. I'm trying to do more like educational kinds of stuff. But I am listening to a really interesting audiobook called Stiff that is all about, and I think I talked about this last week. It's all about the history of cadavers, and it's a nonfiction book, and it's actually really interesting. So it's been cool. A lot of established authors are writing under pen names lately, trying to keep revenue up, and also rebound. Like I've considered doing a pen name, and I was going to do a pen name to kind of reboot my career, and then I decided to start the channel and start expanding my social media presence to see if I can rebuild the Shirley Jump name. Because there's a whole long, huge story about how I had to kind of put my career on pause that I'm not going to get into today. But that need to republish again and reboot my career drove me to start the channel, start all this social media, start getting myself out there more, build a community, build more of a newsletter list, all of that. If I didn't do that, then I probably would have had to come out under a pen name because it's like you're a brand new author. And so your bad sales record or anything like that doesn't end up in there because you're starting off as a new one, even though they can look it up. They'll know who you really were if you're selling to a regular publisher because they have to tell you for the contracts and stuff. So if I went in as like Jane Doe, the publisher would know that it was Shirley Jump that actually wrote the book because of the contract. But if you're doing it as an indie author, you can totally do that to break into other genres. You can totally do that to give your career a reboot. And I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do with that there. I showed you guys the cover for the after party. That's the book I've been working on Fridays. I am going to have to shift gears in like a month and start working on the book that I just sold. But that's the book that's going to be hopefully under Shirley Jump and come out sometime next year. I have to look at the the release date for that compared to the release date and the delivery date for the book I just sold. But yeah, I think I'm going to try to stick with Shirley Jump and see if I can reboot that name. So, and thank you very much for the prayers and everything. Yeah, I think he's going to do great. I think he'll be great. Audible has a note feature and a highlight feature. I didn't know that, Walter. So I would have to go in because I'm usually listening while I'm driving. And you obviously, you guys have seen me operate technology. You definitely don't want me trying to do anything like that while I'm driving. I'll have to look into how I do that um, because that would be really cool. I find though that with Kindle and Audible, I don't go back and relook at it. Like I've read books on Kindle and highlighted parts and everything. I just don't go back. I love the physical feeling of holding a book so much. And I read 3, 4 books a week easily. And I really love that tactile experience of it. So that I'll hold on to them. You should see how many books I have in my house. It's disgusting. But my mother-in-law is coming over this weekend, and so I'll send Bent home with her, and then I can just pile up more. I am getting in the mail an autographed copy of Joe Hill's King Sorrow because that just came out and I pre-ordered the autographed copy. So I'm excited about that. Hopefully it's here by next week and I'll show you guys. Um, and yes, JC, it does feel like I'm just there's so many books I want to read. I think I told you guys I went to that used bookstore and I bought 42 books and then I brought home like 20, 25 from BoucherCon. And I've had to really stop myself not to buy any more because I already had like 20 books or so here that weren't read. And I probably have another 20 somewhere that aren't read that are stuffed in the shelves among the ones that I have read. So I'm trying not to buy anything until I at least get that pile whittled down a little bit. And Cheryl rewrote a scene in the hotel kitchen with the two main characters, and it reads like I'm trying too hard or forcing in order to explore internal conflict between them. It's been very frustrating. Yes, I think that it can be. And I think that what you're doing is and I get this because I just said you have to have the internal conflict in there, right? But I think taking a step back and just maybe free writing and letting it just come to life and see what happens between them, whether you use it or not, can give you a better handle on them. Um, if it's in the kitchen and I'm trying to think of the scene because it's been a while since I've seen it, but I know that she's going to be terrified of being found out. She's going to be terrified of giving him too much information. She's going to be terrified of losing her job. So she's going to have a whole lot of internal conflicts going on there. Like, yes, she would maybe want to help him because that would ultimately make her safer, but she's more afraid for her own life and the little girl's life and her job. And so I would think in that scene, she would be really trying hard to like get rid of him without being obvious and raising suspicion because she's got so much at stake right there. And then when he does something nice, that puts her in direct conflict with her own goal of getting rid of him so that she doesn't make a mistake, she doesn't lose her job, she doesn't, betray her identity in any way. And then, if you give him two, maybe you need to give him like a romantic past. You might have already where he's been really burned, and that would give him a reason to not trust her as well. So, yes, and I think reading really helps a lot. You've got to look at the scenes that you see between characters and see how are they showing this internal conflict, and look at the scenes that are at about the same place in your book. So the emotional journey for your characters at chapter 3 is completely different than the emotional journey for your characters at chapter 16. And I can work on multiple books at one time, but I can't be in the same emotional space with more than one book at a time. What I mean by that is like I can be in the beginning of one book and in the middle of another book when I'm working on two books at once. because the beginning is like early dating, right? It's like the honeymoon stage. It's I'm just getting to know these people. I really like them. The book is really fun. And then the middle is when it starts getting really hard. And then I'm really trying to dig in deeper and figure out where I'm going with it. So that's a different emotional space for me and a different emotional connection with the characters. And characters are in a different emotional place. So look at books that have been done well that are at that exact same structure point in your book, like if it's like chapter 3 or it's chapter 4, look at some books that are in that genre that have done that and kind of see how those other authors have created that construction and laid those little birdseed clues of what's going on internally. So, and that was again a super long answer. All right, let's do one more real quick. Tonight is pizza night, my favorite night, because then I don't have to cook. And I'm always so tired at the end of the week and after this that I don't cook. So let's do one more real quick, and I want to get the rest of my scene done. And we will come right back. Got the timer on. So I put the timer on, but I don't think it started because I see it says 15 minutes again. I don't know, guys. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I keep trying. I'll keep trying. I'll be back again next week, right? I know. I don't know why it hasn't as didn't start because I did my control one. I don't know. I'll have to go back and look at the commands again. I'm going to blame it again on the OBS update because that could be the problem. But I appreciate you guys writing with me today. And I do always run a timer on my end, almost always run a timer on my end so that I know when to stop because otherwise I'm not really looking at the screen. I'm just working. So I'm not necessarily seeing that. But I did finish that scene. I finished the buff of it, and it's still going to have a couple more passes before it's ready. But I haven't quite figured that character out yet because I just added him this week. But I appreciate you guys writing with me. Walter, great job on the 200. I know Silver Ali did a few hundred words as well. You all did great. And let me know in the comments if you did any of the dialogue or you kind of, decided that you were going to work on something else in your book. Silver Holly writing a character who stutters. I had one of those. It was actually one of my favorite characters. It's in The 12 Days of Christmas, which is a novella in Sugar and Spice. And I kind of loved it. It was like a secret Santa. It was a romantic comedy. And she was the secret Santa to the guy she had a crush on at work. And it was perfect for her because she stuttered. And so that made her really nervous. Thank you, Half a Mo. And I will see you guys all next week. And you can have a great week. And hopefully everybody gets lots of writing done and keep coming back to the channel. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see that I haven't talked about lately. And have a great weekend. So thank you for